Hello, in this video I'll be talking about summation and the method of differences in A-level further maths. Let's get right into it. So summation basically just means when you add a series of terms. You'll often see it written in the form of Sn, which means the sum of n terms. Okay? So when it means Sn, this is just like a random variable u, r, from 1 to n, all it means is that you substitute in 1 firstly into r, and then you keep on adding until you reach n. So in this case, it would be S of n would be u1 plus u2 plus u3 and so on and so forth until you get to the final term, which is un. So the sum of all of these terms is called S of n. You might have seen these before, but the most important summation formula you need to remember, because it's not in your formula booklet as this says, is the summation for just x, or r in this case. So if you're going from 1 to n and it's just a random variable, r, x, y, whatever, then it's n times n plus 1 over 2. Or you might see it written as like half n plus 1 as well. Both mean the same thing. But make sure you remember this one, okay? These two r squared and r cubed, the summation of these, are in your formula booklet. You don't even remember them, but it's good to know. Because a lot of people do forget to check their formula booklets and stuff. But these are in your formula booklets. So r squared is n plus 1, and 2n plus 1 over 6. And r cubed is n cubed, n plus 1 whole squared over 4. Cool. So let's try an actual example of a summation question, right? So in this question, we need to find the sum of r plus 4, starting at 5, going all the way to n, okay? So if you noticed here, all of these summation formulas start at 1, right? So the first thing we need to do, actually the very first thing I'll do is I'll expand it to make it easier. So this expands to the summation of 5 to n of r squared plus 4r, right? I can rewrite this as the summation n to 5 of r squared plus 4 times the summation of 5 to n of r. The trick behind anything that doesn't start at 1, it starts as 5, is that you just subtract. So essentially, we can work out what the summation of 1 to n will be using the formulas here, and to get the sum of everything that starts at 5, what you can strategically do is you can work out the sum starting from 1 to 4 and subtract that from this, right? So in this case, if we do r squared plus 4n, for example, just 4r, right, minus 1 to 4 r squared plus 4r, right? This will give us our result, or what we need. So for both of these, what I'll do is you'll first do the formula for 1 to n, right? It will be handy if I can erase some stuff. Cool, now we have more space to work with. So what you need to do is, firstly, you work out what 1 to n is of r squared, and you subtract, 1 here to 4 of r squared, right? So what this will end up being is n plus 1, 2n plus 1 over 6. So n plus 1, 2n plus 1 over 6 minus, right, 4, 5 times by 9 over 6, which will just give you n plus 1, 2n plus 1 over 6 minus 20, 180 over 6, which is just 30, right? And this will simplify to this here, right? A similar sort of vibe. So we already know it's going to be 4 times by n plus 1 over 2 minus 4 times 5 over 2, which is nothing more than 4 n 2 n times n plus 1 and minus 20, because this will become 10 and then you times it by 4, sorry, so it becomes 40 minus 40, right? So once you put these two together, so if I add on 2n n plus 1 and minus 40 and then simplify, I'll get my answer. But the main thing I want you to take away from this type of question is that the first thing is, if it doesn't start at 1, you have to subtract. It's starting from 1 to, if in this case it's 5, so you have to go to n minus 1 or 5 minus 1, which is 4, right? And for example, if this was 100, then instead of 4 here, I put 99. So this little trick. And secondly, if you get something like this, then you firstly convert it into r squared plus 4r, and then you can just do the summation separately and then add them. Okay, so this is how you answer generic further maths summation questions. Let's move on to the method differences. This is just another type of summation question that they ask. So if you have a summation that is not in the form of r squared, or r cubed, right? Chances are it will fit, or you can manipulate that expression to get it in the format of f r plus 1 minus f of r, right? And method of differences can only be applied if it is in this very specific format. We'll find out why that says with this example. So for example, I'm looking at this, right? And you may be thinking, oh wait, can't you do the r plus 1 formula? No, you cannot, because it's the denominator this time. So what we will do instead is, and this is actually the case for most method of difference summations, you'll start off with some sort of mixed improper fraction. You'll have to split up the fractions, converting into partial fractions, right? So in this case, this will split up into the summation from 1 to n of 1 over r minus 1 over r plus 1. Why? Well, if we just sort of just simplify this, we know it's going to be r plus 1 minus r over r plus 1, right? Which gives us exactly what we want, which is 1 r plus 1. So this is nothing but the partial fraction form of this very thing. So as you can see now, we've met the criteria, right? It's a difference of some sort. And now what we can do is, I highly recommend you follow the exact same steps every time for method differences. You firstly work out the first terms, right? And you work out the last term separately. Okay, so because it's starting at n equals 1, right? The first will be n equals 1. 1 over r minus 1 over r plus 1. That's nothing but 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2. When n equals 2, it will be 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3. When n equals 3, it will be 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4. And I hope you already see the pattern. So if we add all of these together, if they're all in a series, right, which is what summation is, you'll do minus a half plus positive a half, right? These two will cancel out, make 0. Similarly, these two will cancel out, make 0. Minus a quarter plus a quarter in the next one, and so on and so forth. Which is why we need to get to the last terms. So because it's going to n, let's start the last terms at n minus 2. So for n minus 2, it will be n equals n minus 2, sorry. It will be 1 over n minus 2 minus 1 over n minus 1. Then n equals n minus 1. It will be 1 over n minus 1 minus 1 over n, right? And n equals n, in this case it will be 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1, right? So following the same pattern, because it was like diagonally crossing out, right? And 1 over 4 will be here. You do the same. This will be crossed out. This will be crossed out. Minus 1 over n 1 over n crossed out. So all we're left with at the end is the answer to the summation, which is the very first term and the very last term in this case, which is 1 over 1 minus 1 over n plus 1, right? So the answer is just n plus 1 minus 1. So it's just n over n plus 1. Cool. That was it. That's pretty much the basics of what you know for summation and method differences. I will be going over more questions from this in another video. But yeah, hopefully you have all the knowledge you need to have. Check out my other videos. Thank you very much for watching.